JoJo's Part 2 is great, and Caesar Zeppeli was a great character in the part. He was the JoBro that was alongside Joseph. I personally think that he was a great character, JoBro, and overall just a very well-rounded character. When we first see him, we can see he plays a nice and respectful guy, but to those he finds unlikable or disgraceful, like he did for Joseph at first, he ignores and disrespects. I really enjoyed how Caesar and Joseph's relationship built over the part, and like I mentioned at the beginning, they didn't get along, they were always butting heads, and they just didn't like each other at all. They couldn't stand each other. Didn't even want to talk to each other, especially Caesar just ignoring Joseph, treating him like he's a terrible hormone user. That's not worth his time. But through it all, they trained together, they got used to each other. With them having to deal with the Pillarmen, they built a connection, and both started to care for one another, as well as trust each other. During the entire part, Caesar did seem like the slightly better hormone user than Joseph, and they both improved so much by the time they had trained for nearly a month. Caesar wanted to go fight one time on his own, and him and Joseph got into a big argument. Caesar just left. He ended up going and finding Whamu, who he fought. Now, this was a really good fight. Caesar showed that he improved a lot. I also love Caesar's fighting style. He uses bubbles, full of hormone, but he almost beat Whamu. He was about to win, but as soon as he was about to take Whamu out, he blocked the sun from aiming at Whamu, which gave Whamu the time he needed to use Holy Sandstorm, and left Caesar in a state which he could no longer fight. He would just bleed to death, but he made sure he went out fighting and took the antidote that Whamu had in his lip ring from him for Joseph, as well as giving all his hormone to Joseph. He even died representing the Zeppeli family legacy. He was very proud of his family and for being a Zeppeli, and always tried to represent the Zeppeli family's traditions. By the time Joseph found out about what happened to Caesar, he was incredibly sad, and it feels like if Caesar didn't make that one mistake during the fight, he would have won and he would have still been alive. I always think, what if he didn't make that one mistake and block the sun? He would have probably won, and I would have loved to see his character even more than we got to. Caesar was a very determined and loyal character. You could always count on him, and once he built that connection with Joseph, you can tell that he was someone Joseph really trusted, and he had so much determination to represent his family, but also to improve, to get better at hormone, and to beat Whamu. I found it very impressive how fast he got so good at hormone, and just how much he improved. The fact that in not even the longest fight, he nearly beat Whamu. I think Caesar had a really good spirit. He was ambitious. I love the determination, and I just love that he went out fighting. I feel like there's no other JoJo characters that are as dedicated to their family's legacy, but also as determined and as much as a gentleman as him. The Zeppelis have always been there for the Joestars, and we always got to see a Zeppeli as a JoBro, and he was not only the strongest one, but he was the last one. Caesar always took his family's legacy very serious, and had a lot of respect for it. At times he could be really hot-headed and stubborn, doing whatever he wants. However, I also like Caesar's character design a lot, not only because I like the art style of Part 2 a lot, but I think just his overall character design and the colors used for Caesar are ones that I think go really good together, and I just happen to like. He has blonde hair, green eyes, and he wears a light blue jacket with a pink scarf. I would say the bright colors he wore really matched his energy and the fire he had inside of him, all the determination, the ambition, and just made him even more likable for me. His death was probably the saddest one in all of JoJo's, in my opinion, and it's the one that I wish the most didn't happen. Of course, there's other characters that have died in JoJo's, but if I had to choose one of these deaths not to happen, it would have been Caesar's. So he personally just added so much to the part for me, made me like it even more, and I feel like he was shown to be really helpful to Joseph, not only training with him so they built a connection, but just helping him out while they were training and taking on the Pillarmen with him. There was even this one time during the beginning where his friend got split in half by one of the Pillarmen after they walked into him, and he really cared. And he showed that not only was he sad, but he cared enough to the point where he wanted to get revenge for his friend and do what he felt was right. Even though it could be extremely dangerous, he always does what he feels is right and what he really should do, and stays dedicated to his morals. He made sure to also comfort his friend as much as he could before he died, and then went straight after the Pillarmen. So another reason I really like Caesar is because he's a very respectable character, and he stands for what he believes in and does what many people would be scared to do. And he just seems like a very trustworthy person who his friends can count on and believe is loyal. And just to add to things about Caesar and what I like about him, he's Italian. And I just think it's a cool detail because he has an Italian accent and an Italian name. I just think it brings personality to his character, as well as I just think it's cool. We only got to see him for 7 episodes, from episode 14 to episode 20. And I just wish we got to see him more. Usually when there's a JoBro and let's say you really like him, even if he's gonna die, at least you get to see him for a while. At least there's like many episodes with him, like at least 20 before he's gone. Except for, of course, in part 1. So that's a problem I have with part 2 and Caesar. I liked his character so much. I just really wish we got to see him more. Because we didn't get to see most of their training. They time skipped, and by the time they continued, they had almost finished nearly a month of training. It had almost been a month. So if they made a few episodes of more training they were doing or showing Caesar and Joseph more together, I would have really liked that. Because not only did I like the part, but I would just like to see more of this part and for it to be longer. And then I would also get to see more of Caesar. I don't think there could have been a better JoBro for this part and to be alongside Joseph. Caesar fit perfectly. He was very well rounded. I liked his character design, his personality. When he died, you felt it and you were emotionally connected. You cared. And I think he did a great job keeping the Zeppeli family legacy. There's even more reasons I like him. He's intelligent, confident, self-believing. All of these different things, and then some of the things I mentioned before, but he's the type of character that really appeals to me. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is Caesar one of your favorite JoBros, or is he your favorite? Do you wish that we got to see more from him? And were you sad over his death? I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.